saying? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens?
What up, weirdos out there in Weirdo Land? It is the Weird Whatever podcast, and we got a full team here today. We got a Joe Ponton in the cheap seats. We got a sweet, peaceful Denny's.
What would my seats be rated?
I think. How about this? I think everyone should hear how Ponton kind of went, woo!
Yeah.
He had like a little catchphrase. When I say your name, maybe you do like a catchphrase or something, like wrestling.
All right.
So we got Joe Ponton in the cheap seats. Woo! That's Ric Flair's, but I would work on that. We got a peace train.
Smoke him if you got him.
Okay, I like it. We got a Mr. Beckett. Very carnal.
This panther.
And then we've got a Vicky.
I knew you were going to say that.
Look at the psychic doing the mind game. That's such a good wrestling catchphrase. You're a psychic wrestler. Yeah. I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah. And then we got a bird.
Yeah, where my birdie's at? Happy National DNA Day.
Oh, I must have not noticed that was today.
Well, I bring that up, Sweet Denny's, because we've got a case breaking in real time. Who killed Shirley and Russell DeMond? It's a mystery. It's been going on for 10 years, I believe, in Alabama. And it was a gruesome murder. So it's kind of weird on National DNA Day that this is going to bring down somebody. They don't have a person, an actual face. But they've got clothing. They've got DNA that's not of the victims. And they go, we think we've got this son of a bitch. And I just love the idea of every knock, every text message, every phone call to a murderer that hasn't been caught. They might be going down. Thoughts, Beckett?
Well, I think it's great, but also people are released from death row based on DNA evidence, right? So that's the other side of it, which is amazing. But, people get all oversensitive, in my humble opinion, about privacy and whatever. I do Ancestry DNA. I'm like, I'm not planning on killing anyone. Like, I've connected with second cousins. I found cool pictures of my grandparents, like cool history. Like, the risk is worth the reward, in my opinion. And if you can put a murderer behind bars based on DNA evidence, let's LFG.
So
LFG.
Things like that are bringing down murderers, right? Like Beckett doing a DNA test is somehow connecting to murderers.
Or that one doctor that was like at that sperm clinic or whatever that was impregnating with his own, and then they were doing that DNA thing, and she found all of these siblings that had all come from that same doctor.
I was asking about that. Is that the gym guy, the one that had all of the Olympic athletes? Is that the Nasir, or what's his name?
Nassar, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a question, and maybe you might know this, Vicky, you being psychic. Is that guy the one that is awful, that did all those terrible things to the athletes? Is he in Gen Pop, or does he have to go by himself? Because wouldn't he be a marked man in prison for them to kill him?
You would imagine there's certain people that are targets in prison.
Like at Epstein, he was by himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
wink, wink. Yeah.
I like how everyone accepts that guy did not kill himself.
Oh, I think with the Epstein thing, you just go, okay, the government can kill you, lie, and there's nothing you can do about it, and move along.
That's pretty much it, because everybody just jokes about it, but then nothing's ever done about it.
You don't think there's any chance he committed suicide on his own?
It's so suspect, all of the circumstances.
It's 100% sus. But if you're in that position, like staring down the barrel of what I
don't know, man. I find a lot of times those guys are very selfish, and he's trying to find a way to get out of stuff.
You could make a case that was a way to be selfish and get out of it, right? He doesn't have to face any of it.
Vicky, what are your thoughts?
I mean, somebody had to have given him something in order to make it possible, right?
I don't know, is it shoelaces?
So you're not supposed to have shoelaces in prison.
Right. If you're on suicide watch, yeah.
So I would imagine somebody had to have been contributing to his death in some way or another.
So I apologize. I got the two doctors mixed up. It's the one you're talking about is a different case, and he got people pregnant.
Yeah, he had like a I think it was maybe he was an infertility doctor, and so people would come in. He would quote unquote secure the sperm or whatever. And
But it was all his.
It was all his.
Yeah, he was
What
just
a
all
sick
his.
son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Genghis Khan.
terrible. Yeah, he
Yeah.
is. He's gonna have.
So I asked ChatGPT, as last update, Larry Nassar with former U.S. gymnastics national team is not in general population. He's reportedly housed in a federal high security prison, specifically under protective custody. This type of custody typically separates individuals from general prison population to ensure safety, often due to the nature of their crimes and other factors could make them targets within the general prison community.
But wouldn't you say if you are a person like that and you're a criminal who's doing life and you know that that target is in there, you're thinking, all you're thinking about is when you're going to get that guy, because there's nothing else to do. There's no, in a weird way, it's kind of like your own version of hope. That kind of keeps you going. I'm going to, at least I
see
get
him one day and
yeah,
stab
at
him.
least I can take down this horrible person.
Yeah, take one for the team.
Yeah.
Very good stuff. Good opening, guys. Very good. Let's get into some Ask Vicky. Vicky is our psychic medium. She's a ghost. Is ghost hunter disrespectful, or is that an okay term to say?
I prefer paranormal researcher.
So
would be the term.
Ghost hunter is offensive.
Spirit Slayer.
Spirit Slayer. It's a great name for a WB series.
You're right.
It'd be a great name for a bar.
Oh yeah,
all
wow,
the
yeah,
above.
geez.
Ooh.
We're cooking. We're cooking right
Yeah.
now.
All right, we'll re-meet up about this.
Vicky, as you were.
No, I forgot what I was saying. No, it's just like ghost hunter is kind of like narrowing more of what I do because I'm not going out with a gun trying to wrangle up ghosts. I'm trying to learn about the paranormal.
So me and Vicky have known each other for at least 15 years, and someone had a question. What is the worst thing Vicky has discovered at a place Jaybird lived? How does it compare to where he lives right now? Is it the same? Is it worse? Is it better?
It wasn't even paranormal.
Sorry. Speaker left blown.
So I'm still making adjustments on Beckett's speaker.
And we do hear the comments. We see the comments. We're trying to make the volume adjustments. We do appreciate it.
I need my own filter, sorry.
Beckett, you don't change.
No.
No. What are your thoughts, Vicky?
The place before this one, that there's no contest.
And the townhouse?
The townhouse before this one.
With the rats, or the one one right after the rats?
The last one you were at before you moved.
That was the worst one?
Yeah, that was when we got that evidence for paranormal caught on camera. That's where we have all those EVPs. That's where you basically had that little backpack creature.
That was like one of the first.
That's one of the worst ones that I ever got something that I knew was out for evil.
Now let me ask you this, because you had video proof. Let's say we never recorded that, and you just did a walkthrough, and you got feelings, and you got all that, kind of like what you do here. Is it possible you don't know what is lurking behind the darkness here? That's Sasquatch North.
There's always a possibility. But one of the things that we looked at your last place is whether you realize it or not. We saw a change in your behavior, and we saw. I don't know if you remember,
Had
but
nothing to do with the ghost. Had everything to do with work.
or something else. I don't know, but there definitely was a change in a lot of things during that time. If we hadn't caught the video footage, we still got plenty of really cool ass EVPs.
I agree. I totally agree. Now, is change in behavior always isn't that kind of an easy thing to say to kind of base evidence around? Because I could fire back and go, well, Chewy was dying. It was in the middle of COVID. I was having terrible family issues. That would be the reason of a change in behavior.
It was pre-COVID, where the concern that I had, it was pre-COVID. That's number one. Number two, like I could maybe attribute some of it, like if I have a client who drinks too much and there's a change in their behavior, sometimes good cue. Sometimes, increase in, alcohol consumption, a breakup, all kinds of things will change a person's behavior. But there were a lot of things happening at the same time.
Is it possible that change in behavior, I really took the Chewy ailment hard. It's kind of hard to see a champion fall in real time. Yeah. And when I got Chewy, it was something I wasn't expecting, kind of like an 80s movie where they drop off a baby and you have to take care of the baby. I wasn't expecting that. And he still was at champion pretty much status, and then to kind of see that and not expect that was really unexpectedly tough for me.
Right. But if change of behavior had happened in isolation and there wasn't other factors involved, yeah, you can contribute that to something else. But when you have almost like a perfect storm where you have this, and this, then you have to say, okay, that's paranormal.
And that was the other question. If, let's say, Beckett is going through a rough time where a breakup happens, a pet passes away, there's a perfect storm of sadness there anyway.
Right.
Now it's almost kind of like you've left the window open, the screen is out, and you go to the kitchen, you watch some TV, maybe masturbate, Denny's, and then you go back to sleep, and then you expect, there's no bugs or lizards in here.
Right. You have to realize that there are certain entities out there that are opportunistic, just like we have living humans that are the same way. So when they see you, there's the living humans that, when you're down, they love to come in and kick you. Same thing with spirits.
On the religious perspective or side, you always see in movies when someone's, a demon is there or a ghost, they start to pray. Is that just for fans, or is there really something to all that?
Some people might say there's something to it because you're holding on to something that you believe in, so you're having faith in it, so you're putting a positive energy out there that's counterbalancing the negative. I can tell you that never once has paranormal ever called in the clergy, because 99.9% of what you're dealing with is a human spirit. Going in there and praying is not going to get rid of a human spirit. It's not going to help that human spirit. It's only going to, alienate them, honestly.
Beckett, we're hearing, talks of clergy, demons, dogs passing away. Thoughts, opinions?
The clergy is kind of interesting because, they say the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit. It's kind of interesting how religion, whether it be Christianity or any other religion, how it kind of intersects with spirituality, right? Like The Exorcist. That was big on, right, Christianity, right, and its intersection, right? So that's kind of one of the things that I thought about. It's like, religion's got some paranormal to it, right? Mm-hmm. Father, Son, the Holy Ghost, literally in the Trinity.
Well, there actually is a verse in the Bible where someone says, and I can't give you the exact place in the Bible it is, but they encounter an entity and they specifically say, you're not an angel, you're not a demon, are you a ghost? And they are not referring to the Holy Ghost. Mm-hmm. They're separating angels, demons, and ghosts. And they actually name it as ghost.
Very, very good. Very good, Vicky. Can a ghost have psychic abilities?
If they had them when they were living.
So you could have a ghost psychic? Isn't that dangerous? Isn't that fucking next level? Too much power for any entity?
That is.
Yeah, I mean, if that ghost psychic had evil intent, oh yeah.
Well, but if you die, do you turn into a fucking Jedi? Because you got powers and you're pure?
Yeah, you'd be a very powerful ghost.
I mean, are we going to see Glow Vicky walking around like a Ben Kenobi, like a Yoda?
Or are there ghosts that are self-aware and they become powerful in that way?
I am interested in the whole ghost that likes to stay earthbound. You always make it sound like they have work to do and they can't face that. But is it just possible that some ghosts just go, I like it here on Earth, I don't want to move on, and they're not a bad person?
Yeah, absolutely. I've come across people who stayed in the house that they built for no other reason than the fact they built that house and they really like it, and they're choosing not to go to the other side.
Yeah, I mean, if you built your own house, and then now you got people living in it.
Remember, nothing's an absolute. Whether you're talking about things that happen here on Earth and things that happen in the next world, nothing's an absolute. So you're always going to have people that make general statements that say, oh, earthbound spirits have, they're worried about retribution, they're worried about this and that and the other, but you're always going to have your ones that fall into different categories.
You speak of absolutes. Only a Sith speaks in absolutes.
Well, a lot of people don't know this, but even the word mortgage is the Latin root word of mortal, which means to death. Right?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Dang.
Yeah.
You trying to out-fact Denny. I like it. Just keeping you hungry, Denny.
Wow. During the Ask Vicky segment, and just so many toes being stepped on.
There's a lot going on.
I'm kidding.
How much does Vicky charge? And is it like a plate of food? If you don't like the reading, can you send it back going, it's too cold?
Yeah, I had one a couple weeks ago and I did not like it. It wasn't up to my caliber. So what I did, it was just a 15-minute one. So I did offer them. I said, this was not my best work, and I said, go, please contact me, and I will give you another 15 minutes for free.
How did they react to that?
They never contacted me, so maybe it could be that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, because I like to hit it out of the park each time. So there's times where the one time I've talked about on the show where I gave her entire money back. And I had talked to her about 20 minutes, and I could see that I wasn't getting anywhere with her. I said, listen, I'm not who you need. I'm going to go ahead and refund your money. For me, it's not about the money. It's about someone getting something from the reading.
It's interesting you saying you had a bad reading. I think we all, in our own respective fields, have what your own version is a bad game or a bad day. Denny's, how do you know you're having a bad game where it's not anything other than you fucking up? And how do you deal with that?
It's weird. I was just thinking about that the other day. Just some days you wake up and either things don't go your way. So there's a bunch of combinations that can happen. Things just don't go your way, but you're not in a bad mood. And then some days you just wake up and everything annoys you or everything bothers you for whatever reason. Is it diet? Is it just lack of water? Is it no sleep?
You're hungover.
But you can still be in a good mood. I don't know. It's just every now and then you're just in a mood that no matter what, you almost have to just get through a day and sleep it off.
I start to wonder if it is an age thing or just because there's sometimes no rhyme or reason why you wake up like a fucking ass. Not you, the universal you, where I know what you mean. There's no drinking involved. Everything's not that bad. And then you're in a crabby ass mood. What is that? Is that diet? Is that...
your mental state. Sometimes it won't even be a bad day or anything. Maybe you even had a good day before. Maybe it's just the levels rebounding.
That's when it really messes with your mind. You have a great day, and you're still not happy. You're on the top of the hill, baby.
Yeah.
Where's the orchestra?
I think Mercury in retrograde ends tomorrow, doesn't it?
I think it ends tonight.
So you believe in that full moon sensitivity.
And the reason I know that is because I did like a reading with my go-to psychic, and I was asking a relationship question, and she's like, well, reevaluate at the end of Mercury retrograde, which ends on the 25th, and then look at the relationship again and analyze.
There you go.
That's the only reason I know it off the top of my head.
What's your version of a bad game where you know, I'm Beckett and I fucked up?
It's kind of, you'll appreciate this, Bird, being in sports. You see it in sports, right? Like they call it sometimes the flow state. Like sometimes you're on, the baseball slows down a little bit, you feel really good, and then you're in a slump. And then, you recognize patterns. And, there's some silliness to it, but I think there's some genius in rally caps, right? Like superstition in baseball. That's a sport that's evolved over a long time. And you're kind of like breaking patterns, right?
It's a mood interrupter.
It's a mood interrupter.
That's what I feel like for depression, especially people who have depression. Look, I'm not at all by saying this is the end all be all. I just call them mood interrupters. And I just know with me, sometimes if I get in a depressed mood, and maybe I don't even understand why I'm in that, but recognizing, hey, you're kind of you're in the blues state right now. Interrupt this pattern and do something completely different.
Yeah.
Get your mind occupied. And I feel like a busy mind is a less worried mind. Let me rephrase that. A busy mind with good things you're working on. A busy mind thinking about negative shit is not a good mind. But a busy mind where you have a project you're working on or you're in the now, which is the hardest thing, yet the easiest thing for a human to do. But it really is hard to live in the now. And in my personal opinion, I feel if you can live in the now and try to have as much enjoyment in the now as you can, even if you're in a bad meeting, life does get better, but it's a hard thing to do. Just live in the now. Just get over it. It's kind of like one of those blanket statements. How does one live in the now when the human brain is really programmed to live in the past and be afraid of the future?
Yeah, it puts you more in that acronym ID AF, right?
Oh yes, IDGAF.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're just so busy with more important stuff, right? Like when I'm not busy at work, I tend to wallow in things a little bit more, right?
Oh yeah.
And then you turn the proverbial, anthill, molehill into a mountain, right? Because you're just vacillating and mentally masturbating about this like one little thing. But if you got very important things going on, that little thing, you don't like harp on it.
Yes, it is. It is something to where if you're able to recognize it and become self-aware. I just know that depression is, I think, something, or just the blues is something humans have. That's part of our DNA, and I think some people have it worse than others. And I think sometimes the depression can win if you allow it to. Again, not saying that I think some people really have it really, really bad and they need extra help. Yeah. I'm just saying on that lower level where interrupting a mood might be a good exercise.
100%.
Whether that is math.
It'd be tough. If you're worried, math's probably so difficult.
There's some people, though, that go, I fucking love a word problem. I love algebra.
We just need a little Sudoku up in here.
There are people that really love math, man.
Oh, for sure. The people like cracking the codes on things. I'd find, it's something more like a puzzle, maybe.
I'm a puzzle guy. Actually, I fucking hate puzzles. They're very annoying.
You're like, I like puzzles. Fuck puzzles.
They are. In fact, this podcast is going to be called Fuck Puzzles. Vicky, great job, as always.
But I do want to say, be very careful when you pick. There was someone's post last week, and she was looking at other psychic medium pages to give you an idea. Anybody who's reached out to me, they know how, reasonably priced I am. They came across someone. I'm not talking about a famous one. I'm not talking about Long Island medium. I'm not talking about Chip Coffee. I'm talking about a regular Joe Blow psychic medium. They were charging $225 for 30 minutes and $345 for 50 minutes.
That's sus.
That's ridiculous. So keep in mind, it's a delicate little dance that anybody who has ability that they have to dance to say, okay, I got to show that I have some self-worth and that I know that I'm doing a good job, but I'm not out to rob people. Like you really have to look for somebody that you can tell has a heart, is not trying to get rich at it, and who legitimately wants to help people with it.
I'd like to hire Vicky and her team from my house.
Well, the team stuff's free.
Team stuff's free?
Yep.
But if you want that reading, you're going to charge you up the ass.
The one-on-one.
I'll take it up the ass. No, I want the full shebang. I like the whole deal, like the whole EVP, the whole team.
So what you're telling us is you're not bitch boy Beckett anymore. You're not a pussy. You want to do this. Okay.
I'm full flaps out. I want to know.
I'm liking this.
Because my house is 1926. It's old school.
I mean, it's a recipe for a ghost.
You're right. I think so.
Anytime I
some strange things happen in my house.
I bet they do, Beckett.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anybody wants to join Point Paranormal so they can get into Beckett's house, send me an email at nancy38drew@aol.com.
And if they want a reading, is it the same email?
It's the same email.
I got candelabras. We're ready to go.
Eyes shut, motherfucker. Eyes wide shut, motherfucker.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. There's certain drawers you can't open.
I'm pies wide shut. I think it might be time to change course and go into the land of Denny's Random Facts. So our sweet Denny's does a great job finding and hunting these amazing factoids. Vicky, our educator, a legit educator, she grades them. If she loves it, she gives it an A. If she hates it, she gives it an F. Denny's, the floor is yours. And someone tells me Vicky's going to grade you real hard.
Yes.
Yep.
I was pretty excited when I found this one because, again, I love finding old medical things that people used to do. So back in the 1800s, 19th century, a common cure for asthma was a hand-rolled asthma cigarette. They would pass you a cigarette that not only introduced extra toxins into your body and causing even more asthma, but it didn't treat anything. In fact, it was actually pretty bad for everybody. But they thought that the thorn apple, it's called Datura stratymonium, they thought that cured asthma. So when you got a bad case of asthma, which used to kill people, they thought that smoking these cigarettes would cure them, but it definitely didn't.
It gave them super asthma.
So they evolved from that to the next treatment, which included drinking blood of wild horses.
Beckett, I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
I thought he'd give you a trigger warning.
And then that one evolved into eating 21 millipedes soaked in honey. And then it transitioned into inhaling fumes of hydrocinic acid, which is cyanide. None of these things ever cured asthma, by the way. But those are all the treatments all the way through the late 1800s into the early 1900s.
That's messed up.
It's super messed
There's
up.
a lot of shit messed up in the 1800s. It just, I feel like it just, humans really didn't have it together yet.
No.
That's an
and
A. That's an A.
The one they actually thought worked the best was arsenic, which also didn't work for it.
And
Yeah,
let me-
but their complexion was so beautiful
It
after they got
was.
through with
They
it.
used that in a lot of cosmetics.
And then they put it on everybody on the Wizard of Oz cast. I feel like the Wizard of Oz cast was just treated so terribly as far as anything poisonous and anything terrible.
I thought that was asbestos.
It is. I was making a joke that did not land.
There's old pictures in the Tour de France where they have the riders at the top of the Pyrenees in the mountains at high altitude smoking cigarettes because they thought it opened up their lungs.
Yeah. It's just so funny.
I can see that though when you don't know.
Right.
Like this is great. I feel amazing. I've only smoked a
It kinda
small-
tricks you.
It does. I'm not a cigarette guy at all. In fact, it chokes me out. I think I probably maybe smoked 2-3 cigarettes in my entire life. 2 of them on the air at the same time. I never smoked a cigarette. It might have been 4 cigarettes. We lit a bunch, and I can see how it would trick you in the beginning, going, "Woo, everything's great. I feel great."
Yeah.
Because it's kind of drug-like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, it
Then
is,
you get
yeah.
hooked.
100%.
So this one's kind of a fun one, but no word in the English language rhymes with the word month. So hearing that, I looked up other words that don't have rhymes, and I was going to throw a word at you, and you have to either try to rhyme it, or if you can't, you have to make up a word that rhymes with it.
Oh my gosh, I love this game.
So the first one for you, Bird, because month has no rhymes. Can anyone think of any?
Cunt. What a cunt. Gosh, she's
It's the
such a,
past tense of
she's such
cunt.
a, she was a cunt, but now she's a beautiful
She
angel.
doth cunt up in this bitch.
Past tense. That is a person who was a cunt, but she's changed her way. What a cunt.
She cunt in the past. Yeah. But 'tis not in the present.
Okay, who's next?
We're
All right,
doing
so
we're
your
spitting
first-
Shakespeare here.
So here, I'm gonna start off the next word with bird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Purple.
Herpel. It is herpes at a level that is just at the apex of the condition, and no judgment.
All right, Vicky.
God.
Silver.
Blilver?
I mean,
And what does it mean? Blilver.
what's a blover?
It's a little tiny bug that you get right here in the back of your neck.
I
in
love
the
it.
hairline.
Alright.
I love it. After you make, if you make up a word, you have to give the definition.
Yeah, alright,
That's
I
part
like
of the
it.
game.
I like it.
I love this game, by the way. I would play this for an hour off the mic.
All right. Well, all right, Beckett. Your word is pint.
Tint.
What is tight?
Yeah.
mean?
What's tint?
I don't think I can say it on the air.
Oh.
It's the,
No, I just made it up.
it's the bridge between
Yeah.
the butthole. And
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Here, all right, Ponton, if you want to walk
very
over here.
sensitive.
All right,
area.
Ponton, you're on the spot.
All right, you can
Welcome
come
back.
over here real
Welcome
quick.
back, kid.
You can come over here
Come
real
over to
quick.
the
We'll
micro-
do.
I still can't think of anything that rhymes with pint.
Ponton's word is wolf.
Smolf. It's a very small wolf that lives in the forest with the Smurfs. Smolf.
A smolf, a tiny
Yeah, it's
wolf.
Papa,
I love it.
Papa Smurf's fucking ride.
I love it. I love it.
That's a fun
That's
game.
fun. That's fun. Other words, just for you guys' record, would be ninth, dangerous, marathon. Those are all words that do not have rhymes.
I mean, Denny's. I enjoyed it. I loved it.
You're trying to check it, aren't you?
I'm trying to check on shit.
Wow.
I'm on ChatGPT.
Oh gosh, it's man versus computer.
Tint is in his head.
Kind.
All right, please go on. You're killing. Give
right.
us another one.
So this one's kind of I guess kind of more on a serious tip, but there's a name for the fear of not having a mobile phone, which is funny because this fear didn't exist until just a few decades ago. But the term is nomophobia, which is no mobile phobia. It is a condition that is now recognized, and while it seems not to be a serious concern, it causes very real mental stress amongst children, teens, and young adults from 12 to 23, the biggest affected range.
Yeah, no, I think tech's been great for the kids.
Yeah.
I think they really embraced it.
So we now have a new phobia added to our
Oh, I've felt
repertoire.
it. I felt it. I lose my phone. I'm straight at the AT&T store. Like
Well,
that moment.
It's a new fear fear that's springing up, especially in young people. But I mean, obviously, we would get it as well. Anyone who loves tech or having tech on them.
There's times where I'll deliberately leave my phone away from me so I can wake up, because I know I won't rest peacefully if I know that the phone is not right next to me. So I can't, if I want to take like a power nap,
Yeah.
go, you only got 20 minutes, bitch. You got to try to rest your mind and try to get a little bit of sleep. I'll put the phone away because I know I won't rest completely.
Yeah.
And it's a terrible move.
Terrible move.
It's a terrible move, Becky. What's your name?
Well, mine's multi-pronged because I run my whole business from my phone these days. I'm in sales. It's important. God forbid there's a family emergency. That's important.
How many numbers
Yeah.
do you have memorized? If you
Uh,
had to call somebody.
just people that have been in my life since before
Phone before
yeah,
mobile
long
phones.
time. Yeah, long time.
I know my father's
No
number.
sexting.
I
No
know two.
sexting. Like,
Yeah, I got one.
how long can you go without that?
I haven't sexted.
Tough
In,
times.
I haven't sexted in a minute, Beckett. I'm like, yeah, I like a good sexting if it's the right vibe. If you get lonely later on, we can practice.
You enjoy life.
I'm trying to convince someone to do an AI sex spot.
Oh, no,
So-
we're-
Good crush.
I just read about they have these AI. So they created this new AI that sits on a screen and it will sex with you if you want for sure. But
it's crazy you're bringing this up. We have an AI sex topic coming
oh,
up.
all right. But yeah,
I'm in.
the AI will live its life and then occasionally look up at you and just acknowledge you and then go back to doing it. And then I guess that
Man, it
keeps-
sounds like a real relationship.
maybe they're simulating.
And can you do me a favor? Can you slow that down and can you be British?
What these robots stay with?
Not a dude British. I wanted a girl.
I thought you like
wanted-
Jason Statham or something.
I wanted a chick like an Emily Blunt.
Is that the past tense of Emily Blunt?
There's nothing that rhymes with that word.
You're right. Shit, he's right.
Let's bring it back.
He's right.
Denny's, great job. That was awesome,
yeah.
awesome stuff. Let's get to that Tech-It Beckett segment. And this is, I'm interested to get your feedback on this, Beckett.
Okay.
Let me find it first.
Should
No
we
tech.
think of a theme song? Well,
Give me a theme song, Denny's, and you've got the. Oh, okay, here we go.
Beckett.
My girlfriend loves using virtual reality headsets for porn,
Ooh.
and you were talking about
Oh,
that.
that's fantastic.
I'm actually quite intimidated by it all, and it's hurting my confidence. Sometimes I find she watches it after we have sex with each other, which really hurts me. I feel like I'm losing my girlfriend to a robot. Should I just go with the flow and have her enjoy it, or is this a red flag for things to come? Any advice would be
Pun intended.
appreciated.
My advice, if I might take the floor, is It's Dr. Ruth. Is if you can't beat him, join him. He should do his own POV VR recording for her to watch and see how that's received. Because
Yeah,
then you have
yeah,
the
that's a
best.
good
Then you
idea.
have the best of both worlds.
So here's where I think the red flag comes in my opinion. I want to get Vicky's opinion on this. The fact that she's still needing to watch porn after sex makes me think my man's not bringing it home.
Right.
Is he?
Absolutely.
And if I'm not trying to be out of line when I say this. Is he going downtown? Is he visiting? Is he not even going there?
Yeah.
Are we massaging the bosom?
Well,
He
like,
bending anything.
well,
Or is he bending anything? Denny's, exactly.
well, like in anything, and like we started the podcast, there's no absolutes, and it's usually there's usually a confluence of events. She could be into it before him, whatever the case may be. We don't have all the context, and it's conditioned. Like sometimes you have a certain sexual thing from a previous relationship that wasn't your thing, and you got used to it in that long-term relationship. And then you bring it into a new relationship, and then that new partner has to get used to that, right? So what I would say to that is that, who knows? Maybe it's something that she really enjoys and he can enjoy as well. Maybe it's something she kind of grows out of. But that's why I think that if he records something for her to watch POV in the VR sector, that is an interesting, dare I say, shit test. See how that works, right?
Vicky, thoughts? Because here's my thing before you give your opinion. Just another red flag is the fact that the way he wrote the email, he was surprised to find her with this thing on her head, and he's not into it. He's intimidated. So she's kind of almost running roughshod on him, almost kind of wanting to get caught, in my opinion, the way it was written.
Maybe that's part of the kink.
What? That's a good point. What are your thoughts, Vicky?
Well, I don't normally side with Beckett with, sex stuff, but I think that is a good solution if that is something. But here's how it all starts, with a conversation.
Yeah.
Like, they need to sit down and have a conversation about
Communicate
this
about it, for sure.
and figure out all the ins and outs of it, no pun intended, to make sure that they're on the same page with this. And if they're on the same page, hey, kick in with Beckett's advice and make his own little video for her.
Now, if he does that and she doesn't respond to that and she's not into it, I think then you kind of start having answers.
Yeah.
And maybe there's a kink thing that she likes where she gets turned on by making you feel bad and inferior, or you know what I'm saying?
You gotta drill down into it.
There's a lot of innuendo happening.
But I did watch a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about how when couples finally go to counseling, they start off with, well, there's no intimacy anymore. And that podcast was talking about, well, okay, when did this start? What happened? And usually the intimacy problem is not the problem in the relationship. You need to go back and look what the catalyst, how are you not compatible in other areas that is causing this incompatibility for your sex life.
I also think too, sometimes people, because we're on the air, they open up. It's an odd thing. Denny's even notices it. Sometimes people will open up about very intimate details, and there's been probably 3 or 4 people that have opened up about this kind of stuff, saying, I've got a kink that I'm afraid to bring up to my partner. I've been married for 17 years. She feels, or he feels, like they know every part of my soul and being, but there's this one thing that I've kept,
I can't wait to get it out.
Well, I think that's healthy. I think that's the right way to go about it. I don't think you should ever hide what you are. I don't think that's that. I think that is a recipe of mental health.
Yeah.
Just sadness.
Well, I think with closest with your partner, you don't always have to act on it, but like if you have desire, or you have past things, or you have certain thoughts, like you just convey them, right? Mm-hmm. You just convey them, and to Vicky's point, you communicate about them. I've had certain things that I've done in the bedroom where I'm like, yeah, that was really hot. I don't know if that is
Slow it down.
I don't know if
British.
I don't know if that's healthy. I don't know if it's healthy in the context of a serious, healthy relationship.
Sure.
Right? Whether it's dirty talk and certain things you're saying, like whatever. Like,
We know Beckett loves the dirty talk.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone does. Young people, and I think we've had these conversations. I think that VR and porn bleeding into, and I've seen it. Like I'm on the cusp of a millennial, right? Like by a year. And I've seen it, dating, girls that are younger than me, like, and having friends and buddies that are younger than me. Like, they have almost like a different point of view in some ways because of porn and what's on the internet,
yeah, no,
right?
Definitely.
And how far away do we get from intimacy and lovemaking where it just becomes a performance?
It is quite a moment when Beckett looks at you in your eyes and says, lovemaking. No, I do think porn has changed, but I saw Vicky roll her eyes 9 times while Beckett was talking.
No, only rolling my eyes because, like, you just assumed that older people like myself don't have those same kind of things.
Boom.
Young people did not invent this.
Boom.
Plain and
you
simple.
TikTok motherfucker?
Yeah, well, so I understand that. What I would say is that it's more pervasive. Like, you used to have to go get the VHS and pop it in, and you rotated like
you had to work hard for the big O.
Yeah, you had the 3 VHSs that you used.
You did. You had to work so.
Yeah.
Kids don't understand that.
Nah,
I mean, seriously.
Now they could be in between class and just throw up Pornhub. Like,
and when I say kids, I mean 18 to 20. Like the older, the legal. I'm not being creepy.
Yeah.
I'll get that on record.
So I wonder how far we're getting away from intimacy and lovemaking and too much into the performative act.
A big thing that I really believe is that technology, i.e. porn, has without a doubt shaped it's changed humans, how we kind of approach a lot of that stuff. And I think you can get lost in the sauce and become quite robotic.
Yeah.
And you can lose human contact,
Yeah.
man. I really do. There's just too many stories of people I know in my personal life that have been enslaved by technology that it's and I'm talking about porn stuff where they maybe her or him, they're not getting along and they're pissed off at each other, but they still have this carnal urges, Denny's.
I would say it's going to be like a weird analogy, but it's like anything. You can overindulge in alcohol or working out or whatever.
Anything.
The old saying, everything in moderation, including moderation. And, certain things are kind of like nutrition, right? Like you can always have McDonald's every once in a while. And like,
we had it yesterday.
Right. And there's junk food. Right? And the kind of naughty stuff is a little, McDonald's is naughty. Right? And
that is a clip right there.
And sometimes broccoli isn't that fun, and like eating nutritious and steel coat oatmeal.
Oh, really? No shit, Becky. Oh, yeah, broccoli is no fucking fun. The only good thing about broccoli is the cheese, and we all know that.
Right. But there has to be balance of it, right? Like it's fun to explore your partner's sexuality and all those things, but you need that steel coat oatmeal to be able to enjoy that McDonald's.
Well, for example, this would be a great question for a Denny's.
All right.
Okay, you know Jen, you've known her for so long. Then all of a sudden, she sits you down and she said, "Look, I've had this kink for the longest time. I've been embarrassed to tell you.
It.
Yeah, I just didn't want to tell you. And it's something you're not necessarily comfortable with. Being in a relationship, you guys are friends and lovers. You know what I mean? So there's going to be ego involved, emotions if you're not into it. How does it Denny's handle that?
I mean, after this much time and commitment, you would have to try to indulge it.
Whoa, Denny's!
You'd have to, right? I mean, you do your best, I mean,
Sex in the studio.
It all just depends, I guess, what it is.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Because there's probably spots where you guys would be like, okay.
If it's pulled my hair, you're into it. If it's like a gangbang, you're like, I'm out.
Even me and Becca have a line.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody's got a line.
It might be a movable line, but it's a line.
For sure. It could be shifting. It could be even crossed, but then you're like reflecting on it.
But think about that moment that she actually would be vulnerable enough to share it.
So
that is what you need to focus on.
That's the other side of it.
That you are totally giving yourself up to this person and letting them know every single dark area of your brain.
That's a great point, Vicky.
Yes.
I couldn't agree more.
I also think it's a great point too to not throw something on your partner. If you really love your partner and it's something they can't achieve and you know they can't achieve it, I don't know if you should you be honest if you know they can't. Okay, let's say your girlfriend at the time goes, "Beckett, I just want an 11-inch dick." And you don't have an 11-inch dick.
How do you know?
Well,
You're making assumptions, Bird.
Jeez, you know what happens when you assume.
That was very wrong of me, and I apologize.
Bird.
But I'm saying that's an ego thing that I think some people can't come back from. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How would you handle that? You go, Vicky,
So you get something that will help you be 11 inches, and trust me, at that point, she's not going to want 11 inches
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
Trust me.
100%.
Trust
So I
me.
take back what I said.
Vicky comes to the truck.
Trust me. Just saying.
Look,
Yeah, she'll be the dog that caught the car.
what? What did Becca just? Was that offensive? I don't know what he said.
No, you'll be the dog that caught the car. Because the dog always wants to catch the car, but when he catches the car, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
stops.
Denny's.
I thought it was a good analogy for that.
I think it's a great analogy. So we basically did not help this guy at all.
No, he's even more confused.
No, we
Conversation.
did. What we did.
No, Vicky's right. And-
Yeah,
and
that's
you,
right.
you both are very much right.
Right.
I'm making jokes over
Well,
here.
we provided some levity for something that is he's obviously and clearly in his head, and Vicky made a great point in terms of communication. Is like, not the silver bullet per se, but kind of is in a lot of cases. And what my recommendation is that he should try to participate in
Yes.
it. Don't wall it off, and make his own POV VR thing. Like this technology is so cheap and so easy now. You know,
To Vicky's
Minimal investment.
100%. When he's at work, she can be watching him POV have sex with her in VR. It's the best of all worlds.
Yeah, no, to Vicky's point, oh, fuck, I forgot what I was going to say.
Beckett's getting excited. And then we're going to ice him down.
Becky's got a fucking boner over here. Good God.
11 inches.
Oh, thank you. You reminded me of it.
Somehow that reminded you of it.
If you're able to get in a relationship where you legit love the person you're with, I think that's what it really comes down to. I think there are people that you partner up with and you may not really necessarily even like or want to go through the wall with. And I think there's people that you meet in life that they're a soulmate. And I'm talking more on the romantic level on this part where you go, I love this person. I would do anything for them. As long as I know they're not going to fuck me over, I'll do whatever. I'll dress like a little piggy if you want me to.
Yeah.
Just don't fuck me over.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't let Jeremy down the street dress like a piggy and fuck you. Because now you're fucking me. Both of you. Right. And we can't have that.
Right.
100%. Yeah, and here's the other side of it. It is a probably, and a lot of people unfortunately have experienced this, if you try to ignore or not provide, to Vicky's point, an environment for communication of someone that you have a relationship's needs and desires, that's a recipe for potential disaster. So you're better to be open about it and provide a solid footing and an openness to hold the space and for them to communicate it. Because if it's suppressed, whether it's just a communication thing or it's an acting out or a trial phase or an experimental phase, that is what breeds more healthiness in a relationship, in my humble opinion.
Oh, my boy is so ginned up. He's going to be sexting all night. He's going to be, oh man, you're jerking off at least 3 times tonight.
VR is tricky though because it cuts out your sensory awareness, right? Because you got the head.
Oh,
you're
thrusting in the air. You're doing all kind of
Imagine
shit.
you leave a door open, somebody comes through the house. Because you would have no idea they're standing there.
And if I did it, I was fully naked.
Oh.
It would look so disgusting. I have the worst ass, and then I have a little bit of a fucking gut.
You'd have this helmet on.
I wouldn't want my girl to see.
There's
me
a
like
rule
that.
in VR sex. You have to lock your door.
Oh, I feel like when you put
There's
the
a-
helmet on, it should lock the door for you.
There's a rule to, I think, masturbation. Always lock the door.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's the goal. I think that we all should.
I walked in and my son's treating his body like an amusement park. Name that show.
That is.
No one knows that? I'm usually the worst one at this. It's when George Costanza was jerking off and his mom caught him and she fell and like hurt herself and ended up in the hospital.
Look, Becca, I always love when we can bring a pop culture reference to the people. I love it.
People probably recognize that. Man, I just never watched much Seinfeld. My dad and my brother love Seinfeld to the next degree.
That was great. You know, Curb Your Enthusiasm didn't make me respect Seinfeld himself or the show less, but it made me qualify it because you realize how much of the talent was Larry David.
Oh, Curb Your Enthusiasm made me one
amazing.
of the biggest Larry David fans.
He's the best.
It's a better version of
fucking-
Seinfeld.
Dude, there's something very, very cool, especially in today's day and age, where somebody just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's refreshing.
It's
'Cause
fantastic.
I don't think the guy is. He's writing stuff. I mean, I grew up in a time where you watched a movie and you would watch it and go, "This isn't real." My parents told me this wasn't real. It's not gonna fuck me up because I know it's not real.
Right.
And I think Larry David just goes in on. There's not a topic. It's kind of like South Park.
Yeah,
There's
South
not
Park's
a
great.
there's not a topic they will not
No.
go after, and I respect it because we can't do that. There's shit we can
No.
never even talk about because of what we do.
Absolutely.
That's an art in and of itself that they can thread the needle on that.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like comedians, as they should, get a little bit more of a longer rope. But, you know, those kind of shows that they can touch these topics in some sensitive times is great. And I think it's great for society.
But with that said, too, comedians also have to lighten up their ego a little bit, too. A lot of times they feel themselves a little too much as a prophet and blah, blah, blah. You're writing a song. You're doing just like, you're doing a job like everybody else. And tame the ego slightly.
No, I agree. With that.
There's a lot of you're awesome, and I don't know if there is that much awesome out there.
Right.
There is awesome out there.
You got to sift for it.
I
though.
just-
The cream rises to the top, right? And because ticket sales, right? Downloads, watches on Netflix.
Whatever sells more will
Whatever
make
sells
more.
more, yeah.
Yeah, and it steers the world.
Yeah.
So we learned a couple things on tonight's podcast. 11 inches, not always that great,
No,
unless it's a sub.
you'll send it back sometimes.
Because honestly, I'm so disappointed if I get an 11-inch sub. You fucked me over at 1 inch.
Totally.
I mean, that's the one thing where you go, give me 13 inches.
Sometimes they won't go all the way. They won't go all the way to the end with the insides. You have this much bread on both sides.
Dude,
the last 2 bites are bread.
There's a technique that sub people do, and it hurts my heart, and I'll see them do it. I'm going, no, don't do it. They'll cut off the ends
tips.
of this. Don't cut
Yes.
off. Don't circumcise my bread. I want the whole bread dick. I want the whole thing.
You want that overflap?
Well, that's a whole inch you just took off of my sub.
It's rough, yeah.
Dude, what are you doing? I don't know when that became a thing, but there are some sub artists out there that cut off the,
What did they
the
do with
ass
that
and the
bread?
head.
Do
It's
they
more.
make
It's
croutons?
more hygienic.
I just I don't get it, Becky.
That's why they started doing
no,
it.
I get the joke. I don't get why people do it. I don't know. We're getting
It's a
off
waste of bread.
We're getting off the rails here.
Yeah.
Can you pass the J-Bo?
Absolutely. Hey, it's Friday somewhere.
Yeah.
There you go, there, Mr. Beckett.
Technically, at this point, you would say on the other side of the earth, it probably is Friday right now.
No, I think I was accidentally right. I
Yeah.
love when that happens.
It's Friday somewhere.
Yeah.
Denny's, we got a little message here from somebody, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but they go, I've
Oh,
heard
wow.
Denny's briefly talk about Internet 2.
Oh.
I was wondering if you'd clarify what he means by that.
So I've been hearing for a long time, and I've had a couple friends who are into this stuff. But there's so many theories going on about the internet, and ever since the internet started, anytime anything new happens, there's always theories and such. But basically, the theories summarized is that Internet 1, nobody really knew what that was going to become. They created the internet, and it was very ungoverned, and originally it had educational stuff on it, and it connected universities together, and then it just became, after email got invented and they started adding, it just became what it is today, what we use it for. So they say that you can't really at this point change or take away any of the rights that Internet 1 has right now. They're just going to abandon it, leave it, let people use it for free, and they're going to create an Internet 2. And Internet 2 is where all banking, all businesses, all, history, documents, everything's going to be stored on. And in order to be eligible for it, you'd have to, subscribe to Internet 2. And they just leave Internet 1 as the wild cesspool west that it is. It's just pornography, misinformation, drugs.
Internet 2 will be the watered down.
It's going to be the one that society functions off of. 'Cause
with your
now
banking.
because now they know what they've done. Now we've created the experiment and we've seen what it does, and now we're like, all right, if we're gonna do the experiment again, let's do it better.
I openly don't know anything about this. This is just a theory Denny's told me about, and it made sense to me because I personally think the internet is the Wild Wild West, where we're all now just kind of seeing everyone going, we need some fucking laws for this shit. Things are getting crazy.
It's just so ungoverned.
It's
They're
so
adding
ungoverned.
laws as they're being, offended.
Yes, and I do kind of feel Denny's is onto something with that. When it comes to your banking and anything where there is, official shit going on. Now, if Beckett wants to sext with somebody in Europe,
Fully encrypted.
Yeah, we go back on Internet 1.
Yeah.
Where it's fun.
Right.
Vicky, what are your thoughts on
I mean,
this?
the first thing as he's saying this, I'm thinking, okay, somebody just invented another way to charge us money.
Oh
in
yeah.
order to-
That's going to be the root of it all.
That's gonna absolutely happen.
It's going to be like that for sure. It's going to be
yeah.
faster. They're going to use the speeds and the new technologies to entice people to it.
There'll be a surcharge that you just an air tax.
But here's the other side of it. Money makes the world go round, and people aren't going to do things for free, right? Like there was the Model T, And you can only put a subwoofer and a Bluetooth sound system in it and a supercharger on the Model T. Eventually, you need a second version, and a third, and a fourth version of that Ford car, right? And eventually, that original frame that was built in the 1920s is not going to suffice anymore. And with the acceleration that happens with technology, maybe there was a 10-year interval, and then there was an 8-year interval, and now like the it's kind of scary, obviously, as we've talked about already on other podcasts, is the acceleration of technology is so much quicker. No one wants to work for free. So if someone's going to innovate and perpetuate different technologies, whether it's a company or it's an independent person, someone needs to be compensated for that.
What about somebody on a missionary retreat?
Missionary what?
A missionary retreat. they don't
Boring.
they don't want to work for free?
I mean, they do, but that's a charity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think some people do. I think it's a small percentage, but I think there are people, there's souls out there that would, without a doubt, work for helping people in exchange for food and lodging and them being spiritual, of that's their calling.
So I think one of the most beautiful things of capitalism is when it serves both purposes, right? Like it raises up people out of poverty and it provides solutions to problems. And what charities do in society is they provide vacuums where capitalism does not provide, right? Whether that is Doctors Without Borders or whatever the case may be. Like it's something that capitalism isn't serving. So they try to go in and serve those underserved people, right? Like, so that's the difference. As it relates to Web 2.0 is in the beginning, before Google and even before Yahoo, we just had people putting websites out there, right? And
there was no way to find them unless you typed a direct link.
Right. And when I went to college, the computer systems was in the library system.
Yeah,
right?
It was.
It was information sciences. And one of the big things they were saying when I was in college is there's so much data out there. And the big problem is not organized. It's not easy to find. There's not a Dewey Decimal System per se, even in the internet. And then the search engine companies came out, right? Then Yahoo came out and Google figured out the best, most efficient model as a way to do it. Now with Web 2.0, that refers to different rails, right? Like instead of the coal-fired train, moving in the 1800s and early 1900s, now you have bullet trains coming, right? And that's a different rail, like actual
Different
literal
system.
infrastructure. It's different things overhead. Maybe it's electric now. It accelerates quicker, doesn't emit whatever. And now you have collaboration. You have collaboration on YouTube and social media. And now it's not people like the four of us putting out content. Now you have platforms like YouTube and TikTok and all these other, where it's just like the national debt counter. It's just like uploading all kinds of information. So we don't really know what it looks like. There's blockchain that plays a role in all of that stuff. There's all kinds of different things. But that's kind of the beauty of humanity, right? Like we're all innovating and seeing where all this goes. It's scary and exciting at the same time.
It's almost like a bacteria, the internet, of just creating content and watching what happens.
Oh, it's the fucking genie's out of the bottle, y'all.
Yeah.
The robots are coming, not only for our jobs, they're coming for our wives, they're coming for our kids, they're coming for everything. We are fucked.
Yeah. I mean,
everyone have a great weekend. No,
I mean, it's one of the things that I was going to bring up on.
I'm just kidding, by the way.
It's one of the things I was going to bring up because now, like for example, in the Ukraine-Russian war, they're using drone warfare.
Yeah.
Like the United States used unmanned flights, right? Now they're literally using drones, right? And at what point, you play this out? You think of like chess. You think a few moves ahead. At what point do humans just stop fighting? And is that great or is that bad? Because when there's an actual loss of life, you're like, hey, like we got to figure this out and we got to negotiate. But when you're just having machines fight each other, and we're just seeing tip of the iceberg right now. Like this is like early adoption in warfare.
I feel like it's easy when things are changing to say someone's old or a dinosaur. I feel like when it comes to all the robot and technology shit, it's happening at such an alarming rate, Vicky, that we don't really know what the fuck we're dealing with. I mean, Stephen Hawking was going, humans are dead. They are over. It's the end of humanity. Be careful because be careful what you wish for. Yeah, you'll get your cable and your show's on real quick and your internet's quick and you can make a song in 3 seconds with so much heart. But robots aren't anything to fear because the Kardashians have a new fucking show on.
But yeah, when I went to that TESOL conference in Tampa, most of the seminars had to do with AI and how you use them in the classroom and all that kind of thing. And everybody, was up in arms about it.
We have a battle within our own show about AI. I mean, I personally think AI is going to knock people out of jobs on a massive level. That's a personal opinion. I could be wrong. I'll eat my words if I'm wrong. But I'm seeing it happening to my friends and people I work with in real time. And that's kind of scary. So you ask yourself, oh, yeah, people always throw, but it's progress. It's progress. Well, yeah, it's progress for you, but for the community that you're in and that you've been a part of, it's not progress. It's destruction. It's the end of the world for you. So what's progress for you is not... I guess what I'm saying is an orgy for you is not always an orgy for everybody.
Right.
And it's something I think that it's quick to say, you're old, do this or that. Well, this is the first time in human history that I know of. They are speeding up on a level that we can't fucking keep up with.
Yeah.
We are emotionally not as good as the robots. And everything they said is starting to slowly become true. I'm not trying to be an Alex Jones.
No. I took I think I brought this up on the podcast before. I took one of these random liberal arts classes in undergrad. I thought it was going to be the easiest class I took in my whole 4 years. It was the hardest class probably I took. It was a literature class. Ray Bradbury, Kurt Vonnegut. We studied short stories and both authors. And Ray Bradbury wrote that infamous book called Fahrenheit 451. 451 Fahrenheit is the temperature that books burn. It was a dystopian view on the world where government controls everyone. They eliminate all education. They burn books, all of these things. And what stuck out to me and what I still remember and repeat to this day is a professor wheeled in a TV. That's how old I am. And they played an interview with Ray Bradbury. And the interviewer asked him, he goes, well, you're predicting all this future stuff and whatever. Are you trying to predict their future with your writing? And what he answered to the interviewer, he goes, no, I'm trying to prevent it.
Damn.
Right? Because you're thinking a few moves ahead, right? And you're thinking where this all goes, right? And, innovation always outpaces regulation, right? So we're always playing a catch-up game, whether it's iPads with our kids and social media and all this stuff. Like, when you release a new drug, they do clinical studies, they do all these things, but it's not until it's been out there for 10 years you really, really know, is it really safe or what are the actual side effects?
Sometimes you're the test subject.
Yeah.
Denny, what are your thoughts on? I mean, you have a kid that's he's born in the robot era.
I know.
You know what I mean? And you're a person like me that respects the arts, really thinks that's part of humanity, which is the good side of it. Does he give a fuck if there's an AI song or
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does, and that's
Well, think about when you were a kid. What was disappearing? What arts were disappearing? I mean, maybe cobbling shoes. Something that was passed down generationally.
smoking in the car with kids.
But I'm saying there's skills and things that we just don't care about because technology went past that for us. We started at an age where we didn't really necessarily. So I guess an example is when I went to school, they had just stopped teaching how to do tape editing if you're editing audio. from a reel to reel. You used to have to take 2 pieces of...
Yeah, there used to be classes in developing film in a red room.
Totally, yeah. So you'd have to do it in a dark room.
Yeah.
But if you wanted audio to fade, you'd have to cut it at an angle and then cut the other piece at an angle so they would fade out of each other. And so we do it all digital. I mean, we can do it on our computer on an airplane with headphones on now. I mean, it's just there's no reason to learn how to cut tape anymore.
I mean,
there's a great skill that people devoted their life to.
So just to kind of keep piggybacking on this really quick, someone sent an email. Every time Jaybird talks about AI, I can tell you hate it. I guess I'm not sure where all the fear and anger comes from. Technology is our friend. If you don't change, you will die, especially in your industry. I'd smarten up if I was you. Signed, Lance from Wellington. I agree with Lance to a certain point. Don't hide from technology, but what I'm saying is there's a chance, in my opinion, that the human spirit is at
for sure.
It's at jeopardy here for the first time, I think, in human history, where we're going into zombie mode of not really. Dude, if you let robots teach you everything, you can't fucking do diddly dick anymore, and then you're a fucking rock on a shore.
Well, you can't do it. You can't protect yourself, defend yourself.
Because it's easier now? Is that what you want the human species to be?
Well, I think it would be important in your debate and good if you delineate productivity from art. Because I think that those become too
it's a blurred line, Beckett.
When you have situations...
It is.
When you have situations where it's pick this up over here and put this down over here, it's very different when someone's writing a song from scratch, right? And when you have someone that's augmenting, and it might take them an hour to figure out that research that puts them in a better path on whatever situation they're researching, it's a very, in my humble opinion, a different debate than if you're saying, hey, this is art that was produced, whether it's music or a painting or whatever. And one of the things I use to define art, if I can do it, it's not art.
Well,
right. You know what I mean? So I think that because I respect art and I respect the creativity of it, and I think it would be hard for AI to compete, in my humble opinion, in the best way that humans have creativity.
Vicky. So you've got an AI psychic that is got 99% accuracy.
No heart.
Yeah,
no heart.
But they're going. We figured out human patterns and speech and emotion, and they're able to
Our
give
accuracy's through the roof.
Yeah, just there's some new system of a thing where they're able to run it through a filter where it's you versus the robot now. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think there's always going to be that segment of society that's going to go with the human.
I agree, but I think that's going to die off.
It's slowly going away each generation.
It could, but I'll be dead by then. So
I guess that's my question is, does everybody just kind of subscribe to the idea of I'll be dead by then? And that's kind of how I want to end the podcast. Kind of seriously, though, because I feel like you grow up in a certain way and then things change. And then you're like, fuck the youth. And the youth is fuck the old people. And things change. I'm just throwing out the provocative thought of, I think things are changing at such a rapid pace where we as humans can't keep up, because I think humans need patience. It's something that we need to develop
And we hate.
as a species to become one with all, to make it work. I'm just throwing that out there. I get AI is a great tool. It's a great tool. We do have to wrap it up. AI is a great tool, but is it going to end all humanity?
I think it will.
Yeah.
I do too.
Well, we've had this debate either on the podcast or conversation on the podcast or off the podcast, and I know it's apples and oranges, but our grandparents used to say something about TV.
Yeah, but that's different, Beckett. And I do have to wrap up the podcast. That's different.
He's trying to get you all fired up at the end here.
It's different. You're talking about snails versus fucking tigers, man. I mean,
I get it. That's why I gave the preface on it. I gave the preface on
you
it.
did.
I
Fuck
get
you,
it.
Beckett. Fuck you. It's so wrong. I tried to wrap up the podcast, and Beckett fired me. I do want to appreciate everybody who stayed with us. Listen to the podcast. We really, really, really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. And it does mean a lot. And a segment that means something to me personally and spiritually. I love to try to highlight people who write their own music. Fuck AI on this level. I like when humans write their emotions out and I go, hey, I know what that girl was thinking when she wrote that, or I know what that guy was thinking, or whatever. So this week we are going to go with, do you have the name there, Denny's?
It's Ari Rose.
Yes, and it's her song, Peach.
Bellany.
Yes. And by the way, please send me all of your music. I don't care if it's rap, if it's classical, if it's jazz, blues, country. We want to highlight everybody.
Polka.
Who's polka?
What if it's AI?
Oh,
that's
snap! Beckett's trying to follow you up again.
We will not. We won't feature AI on this segment. You son of a bitch! Oh, I'm taking you to the mattress.
Just pull it out.
We do have to figure out his speaker though.
I gotta buy a limit.
Get some better speakers.
People are fucking yelling at me. Okay, this is.
Ari Rose, and this is Peach Bellany is her track.
Thank you guys for listening. We love you all, and
Bigfoot is real.
I've been holding back. I can't tell you no. Ari Rose. Summer days is where I wanna be. Pick up the pace, feeling the July breeze. It's all a haze, sipping on peach bellinis. It's not too late to pick up the pace. The time is now to grab your friend and go, to let it out. Been locked up for so long, we don't know how to act when you're around, when you're around and you're not around. You are the peaches to my cream. You make me feel like I'm flying. Haven't felt this in a long time, since we kissed that summer mid-July. You are the peaches to my cream. You make me feel like I'm flying. Sweet summer Bellini nights. Haven't felt this in a long time. Peaches to my cream. Peaches to my cream. Peaches to my cream. Peaches to my cream. Peach Bellinis, they wash over me. Summer dancing in Prosecco dreams. I've been holding back. I can't tell you no. I can't let you go. I ain't wasting no more time tonight. You are the peaches to my cream. You make me feel like I'm flying. Haven't felt this in a long time, since we kissed that summer mid-July. You are the peaches to my cream. You make me feel like I'm flying. Sweet summer Bellini nights. Haven't felt this in a long time. Peaches to my cream. Peaches to my cream. Peaches to my cream. Peaches to my cream. Peach Bellinis, they wash over me. Summer dancing in Prosecco dreams. Holding back. Holding back. Holding back. Holding back. Summer dancing in Prosecco dreams.